Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming back to another episode of the Your Gray Matters podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm here as always with my dad, Neil, your host. How you doing today, Dad?
I'm wonderful. Hi, everybody.
So we've got another great episode in store, continuing our run. We've had a couple MPs on. We've had MP Dan Muse. We've had MP Larry Brock, former MP Dan McTeague, who's very popular. And today we want to introduce you to the new MP, the new Conservative MP for Cambridge, Ontario, Connie Cody. Dad, why don't you tell us a little bit about MP Cody?
Yeah, I'm glad to have Connie on the show. I've known Connie for over a year. We've done some work together in politics, but her story is terrific. This is a story of never giving up. This is a story of commitment, not only to her career and her path in life, but to the people of Cambridge and to the people of Canada. This is a great podcast, and she did something that is amazing. In the last election, she flipped Cambridge from a longtime Liberal seat to a Conservative seat. Her story will enthrall you.
So stay tuned to learn how she did it. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's all really, really helpful. And if you're listening to us in an audio format, please leave a comment and a review in your podcast player of choice. That also really helps us get visibility. Other than that, let's not delay any longer. Let's hear and learn all about MP Connie Cody for Cambridge.
Thanks, everybody.
Welcome to Your Gray Matters, the podcast that unveils the miracles already amongst us. Here, we believe that the human mind cannot be defeated. Tune in to discover the fascinating people with extraordinary stories, innovative products, and groundbreaking services. With your host, Neil Silvert, who's earned his gray hair and still has use of his gray matter.
Hi, everybody. I'm Neil from the Your Gray Matters podcast, and we are glad to see you back. It's September. The summer's over. We hope that you had a great one. We sure did. And we are excited today. Lately, our podcast has purposely been putting on some of the great political leaders in this country. We're so honored and excited to have them. Our podcast, as you know, is about great people who do great things, different technologies that really help people, and technology is forever changing. And today we're excited to introduce you to, and if you don't know her, you're going to be glad that you just now met her, Connie Cody, the newly elected Member of Parliament for the Conservative Party for the wonderful, wonderful area of Cambridge. Connie Cody, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Neil. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight.
And we're so excited to have you. Connie and I have known each other for a while. I had the privilege of watching Connie as she fought her way to this wonderful, wonderful seat that she has earned. We're going to talk about that. Let me tell you a little bit about Connie, because as everybody knows, we love to honor people for what they do. Connie serves as a member of Parliament for Cambridge, a great area. We'll talk about that. I grew up in Kitchener-Waterloo, so I know it well. And when she got to Parliament, she was appointed to the Standing Committee on the Status of Women. We want to talk about that. Connie's story is so inspiring. She is a person of persistence, service, resilience. That's Connie. From her early years in Cambridge to a career in technology and community service, she finally won a seat in Parliament, a story of never giving up. And she has that determination to achieve. That's what we love about Connie. And we hope that you'll learn about that today. Today, we want to talk about that journey that Connie went on, what keeps Connie motivated, why she has this incredible support that she has, and the important work that she's doing now in Ottawa. As I said, especially as a part of the Standing Committee on the Status of Women, known as FEWO, FEWO. And I'm going to be asking you why those letters for the Standing Committee on the Status of Women. Connie was born in Cambridge. She's a daughter of Cambridge. She's a daughter of immigrant parents who came from Eastern Europe. They were in search of freedom. People come here in search of freedom. They want opportunity. They're looking for a better life. We're going to talk to you a little bit about whether that still happens here. Her father got his first job as an electrician in a little town named Ayr. Why little when I was growing up, not so little now, actually. And her parents just fought to have a life in Canada with our values and all that comes with the respect for Canadians. Before entering public life, Connie built a career in systems architecture and technology, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit. She has terrific database management skills, and her financial systems that she designed gave her a real results driven approach to problem solving, and she is a problem solver. She's a longtime community advocate for local schools. She helped with student bursaries through the Kiwanis Club, and she served on the City of Cambridge's environmental and accessibility advisory committees. So much more. You can read about her on her website. Connie's lived in Cambridge for 30 years. She's married to a wonderful man, and they have two daughters. And I can't believe this. So you have five granddaughters. That's incredible to me. I don't even know where you have time to be a grandma. So, with that, let's start right at the beginning. Connie, and welcome again. You grew up here in Cambridge. You're a daughter of immigrants. How do you think that shaped your values today?
That's a big question, Neil. Well, first of all, I was actually born and raised here when it was
Ah,
first built, and then when we amalgamated into the city of Cambridge. I've been here watching this community grow, watching it change, and getting to know everyone that's moved to our city. It's been a great time. And I think that the core values that I grew came from my parents and knowing what they went through and understanding what the importance it is to be here in Canada. Where they came from, it was after the war, hardships. And my mom and her family were actually homeless for 12 years after the
oh,
war. So when they finally got the invitation to immigrate to Canada, it was an honor and it's one that we didn't take lightly. And so we integrated very quickly into the Canadian culture. My parents did. I was born here, but we were always taught to respect our neighbors, be part of the community, and to give back. And I think that it's the care that we had for our community and our nation as a whole that established a lot of the values that I carry forward in this role today.
yeah. And obviously, your history brought you to where you are, and you made the most of it. And obviously, your parents made the most of it. And to my mind, that those immigrants, those people who came, my family came all the way back in the very early 90s from Russia and from Ukraine. And I see what our families did with it. And it's a great story of what people can still do here today if they want to. Before politics, as I said, you built a career in systems architecture and technology. I'm not going to ask you so much what that is, but do you think that those lessons that you learned from that industry helped you with politics?
It did, but I think it's the combination of where I started. I was working in social services because I worked full time while my children was in school. My husband was on the road a lot, being in the trucking industry, and I was going to actually study law, and that's where my interest was. But when I went to school and took some computer courses, I realized that it worked jointly with my financial background. And
Mhm.
so I pursued that. And you're dealing a lot with contracts and municipal regulations. I programmed a computer system all across Canada for nursing homes. So there's a lot to deal with the interprovincial regulations, also involved with 78 acquisitions of nursing homes. So when you're dealing a lot with healthcare and the policies, labor laws, especially over 300 union contracts and the financials, budgets, auditing, it really does have a lot to help me in this focus on the federal side.
It's amazing because, one of the things that people look for is not only a long history in politics, but what people did before. And clearly, you had a terrific career going prior to politics. But I could see that your interest in community service and social service work and that would certainly drive you towards what you're doing today too. I don't know if you knew, but I spent 13 years in social services actually.
Okay, yeah.
And so I'm aware of it, and that's how I became a fundraiser, actually. And anyways, I wanted to ask you about never giving up, Connie. You're a great example of a person who doesn't give up. You ran before in municipal and federal elections, didn't win at first, but you kept going. And now you have this very wonderful seat. Cambridge is lucky to have you. Canada is. The question is, why did you keep going and what keeps you going?
I didn't pursue this on my own accord. It wasn't like I woke up one day or started years previously and said, I'm going to, be in politics. In fact, it was probably the furthest thing from my mind was all my advocacy, all my volunteering that brought me to people. And it was these people that brought me to politics. They were
Uh-huh.
very encouraging, very helpful. When it came to the municipal election, it was basically people approached me, wanted me to run. They helped me and we signed up and I did. And I never thought that I would even come close to winning the first time around. I was going up against a very strong incumbent and it turned out that I was just a few hundred votes away. And I realized what it was to go around meeting the people, talk to them. And I heard about the issues and it gained a lot of confidence going door to door and talking to people. And I realized that everyone was looking for a voice to be heard in government. And so then when they approached me for the 2021 election to run federally, again, I had no experience, no knowledge in the federal side. So I went home and I was talking to my family, and it was my granddaughter actually. He said, well, why wouldn't you? And I says, well, I've never done it before. She goes, well, aren't you already doing things like that to help people? And I was like, well, yeah. She goes, well, couldn't you do more? And I was like, well, yeah. She goes, well, what's stopping you?
Hmm.
And she's right. And I have a very supportive family, a very, very supportive husband who's been my strength behind me all the way. When I get tired, he's behind me. When I get discouraged, he encourages me. He tells me every day how proud he is of me, and when I go around and talk to the people, when I meet the youth and our seniors and I hear their issues, and it's very rewarding to talk to people and do good for our community and to give back. And I guess that's what keeps me going.
Yes, and that makes a lot of sense, Connie. And you have a heart for people. I've met your husband. You're right. He's a supportive, wonderful gentleman, and he's smart and he knows what's going on too. I know that he's the kind of person who talks to people and they listen to them. So, yeah, you can please say hello to him for me. Connie, and what I loved about it is as I got to know you during the last campaign and before the election was even called, it was this eye of the tiger that I saw in you. And I don't mean that to be presumptuous. You had your eye on that seat to represent the beautiful people of Cambridge. And you fought your way through a tough election this last election. It was cold some days. Boy, it was cold going door knocking. But the thing is, you were up against the former MP, a gentleman who had held that seat for 10 years, and yet you did it. You flipped that seat from the Liberals to the Conservatives, and it was miraculous, to be honest, not because of you, but just because of what you were up against. And yet you did it. And what do you think that victory did for you? How did it make you feel personally and in your own goals and dreams for your career? Just thought, what was your reaction when it came through that night and you had won?
I don't know if it's really even sunk in yet. I know the day after I won, the first thing I wanted to do was go out door knocking again. The role hasn't changed. I'm still here to listen to the people, connect with our community. It's just a different environment and where I can do it. And I don't I couldn't have won this without the volunteers and the amount of support that I had in the community. And I'm so thankful for the people that voted for me, who came in as volunteers, who's always had my back. And it's been really great to have those type of people. And it was our win. It wasn't just my win, it's our win. It's for the
Yeah.
community, it's for the change. And if you look from 2021 to the 2025 election, the number of conservative votes was raised by, I believe, almost 15%. Like we won at almost 49%. It was a really
Yeah.
unusual election because normally it's around 39 or 41% you can be guaranteed to win the seat or win the riding. but it was almost 49%, and the margin was still only 1,500. There was
Yeah.
a lot going on, and we went to what, 80,000 doors, over 80,000 doors. And like you said, in hail, it was snowing, it was heat
Yeah.
waves, rain, you name it, we went out because I made it my focus to try to go to as many doors as we possibly could.
Yeah, and you did. And that is actually the story. If I learned nothing else in politics, you have to go to the doors and you have to meet the people. I wasn't running in your area, but I was certainly running for Dan Muse and for Erica. And I have to tell you, it was a blessing because you hear stories, real life voices of people, don't you, at the doors? I mean, does anything stick out, or do you remember sort of a general thought process that was going on as you knocked on those doors and spoke to people?
Well, there was a lot of variation. People were looking for hope, looking for change. There was desperation, affordability. People were, for the first time ever, most I've heard people talking about leaving this country, not just the province or a city, it's actually leaving our country. And it was really disheartening to hear the people that are struggling, the youth who are not able to find employment, people, the businesses shutting down, they're not able to thrive in the communities where we once prospered. It was, they really, really were hoping for change. And that was the main message that was going around. I remember walking down and like people would be running at us and so happy to hear and see conservatives out knocking on the doors. And there's one lady, she actually was hanging on to me and crying because she was so desperate
Wow.
for change, didn't know what to do.
Wow.
She had to move into her mother's home with her two children. She lost her home. Well, she lost her job, then her home, and she doesn't know what she's going to do if it keeps on going with the affordability issues, housing issues, all the crisis. She was impacted by a majority of them.
Yeah. And it's a lot of what we heard. But the thing is, thank God they voted for you. Now you'll have your chance to take part in helping people resolve these issues. And it's an amazing thing. I just before we get on to what you do specifically in Parliament right now, a couple of things happened on the weekend that I found really uplifting and actually exciting. And I wanted to share with you and share it with our listeners and our viewers. So, as my bride Linda and I often do, we volunteered on the weekend. This weekend at one of the fall fairs, we were with Dan Muse, member of Parliament, Flamborough, Glanbrook, Brant North. And why I'm telling you this story, Connie, is because Linda and I don't usually stay by the tent. We get out and talk to people and we hand stuff away to people. We were flabbergasted by the number of people who came running as we stood out and just had flags in our hands. Children, adults, whole families, grandparents, older people. Somehow people wanted to hang on to that Canadian flag and our Canadian flag. We had other things to give them. They wanted the flags 10 times more than anything else. And the other things are nice things too. I don't know if there's a message there, Connie, but it actually moved me that I'm telling you, families of 6, 7 people, they didn't want one flag, they wanted 7. And I think that there was a message there that people are seeking Canada. We're looking for our country again. Maybe I'm making it too dramatic, but that's what I felt in my heart. I just wanted to share that because people were rabid for the flags.
Well, we have a beautiful country, Neil. Like it's amazing the opportunities that we could have here. People love this country. They want it to grow. They want it to thrive. Just look at the beautiful landscapes we have, the areas, even our community. It is so great and wonderful. Like we should all be proud. And I'm glad to see that patriotism is growing, and we're proud of our heritage, our Canadian flag. I think that's great. That's awesome.
Exactly. And in the fight for getting our Canada and keeping our Canada, I want to talk a little bit about work in Parliament and your work, but I have to stop right here and say thank you. I'm sure that you're excited too that next week Mr. Pierre Polyev is back in Parliament with us. Our leader's back. I'm sure that you're as happy as everybody else.
It's going to be great to have our leader back in his seat in the House. It's going to be new times on September 15th when we return. and I can't wait.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Connie, you are on the standing committee for the status of women. I was wondering if you could please tell us what that is, some of the things that you've done, and you've done a lot, what the committee does for us. But I'm curious, the letters FEWO don't seem to stand for the Standing Committee on Women. I was just wondering if you know why it's FEWO.
For every woman overall.
Oh, is that right? Oh. Oh, okay, because I
Yeah.
like that actually.
Um, yeah, it's acronyms that happen, but basically the Status for Women Committee just started near the end of the term, like when they were assigned and everything. We weren't able to have the opportunity to do much in the spring term, so we're planning in September to do much more. There's a lot of good things that have happened from the Status for Women Committee, and my volunteerism in the past, helping survivors of trafficking, advocating for our seniors, predominantly women who have been involved in abusive situations and such. That is why I kind of chose and selected Status for Women of one of my hopefuls to be on. So I was really happy to be on it. I think we could do a
Wonderful.
lot to change legislation to make things better. As you're aware, intimate partner violence is a huge issue in Canada. Every 6 days, a woman is murdered. And like, where are these things? Like out west, the brutal murder that happened in today's age, like we've got to have bail reform. A lot of these people are being murdered because of people who are being released within 24 hours of being picked up. Like, the police are doing their job, but we need to do our job and make sure that those who are intending to do harm are kept behind bars.
Yeah, these are interesting times. We recently had MP Larry Brock on with us, and we're still encouraging everyone. If you haven't signed that bail reform petition, just look it up, bail reform petition. Please sign it because Connie's right. We have to change the system that that protects people and not criminals, as it appears that it has been for way too long. And it's wonderful the work that you're doing, Connie, because people need so much help. And we need, I'm going to say, unfortunately, we need to have a committee for women. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't need things like this? But we do, unfortunately. Well, I thank you for that work that you're doing, Connie. I'm interested in leadership. I'm interested in why the heck do people become politicians? That's one question. Because my understanding of the politicians that I met, and I'm not saying anything untoward or inappropriate when I say I haven't really met any politician. I've met a lot of them lately who are either stupid people or people without a heart or caring. There's none of that negative. The people I've met care and they're interested. And darn, you all work very hard. People don't realize how hard MPs and their staff work. Like, it is really something. And that's not because I was one of them for a while, but I saw what was going on. But Connie, also, all of you would do very well in other fields. Many of you come from other fields like yourself. Larry Brock's a lawyer. Dan Muse comes from industry. And yet you've all come for the good of this country into politics. What I wonder about is the next generations of leaders, not just in politics, but in anything. And I'm wondering, why politics? Why should people head to politics? Just curious your thoughts on that.
It's hard. I know that it's a big hurt in most politicians. A lot of politicians say that they're not real politicians, but that's usually what a politician says. I know for me that the role is all about service to the community, and I wish I had the time to speak to everyone who called in and talk to them and work with them directly. And that's why we have staff, and we work at all hours, all different times, weekends, and you know we enjoy the ability to be able to connect with our communities. We enjoy talking to the people, listening to them, and being their voice on the Hill to hopefully make the changes that make life better for them. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we strive for is to make the changes that we feel will make our communities better and our nation as a whole a lot better, especially more united. And when it comes to our youth growing, I'm seeing a lot more interest in politics. It's very hopeful. I was at a job fair and I saw so many of them choosing to be in a role of service, whether it was with the fire departments, whether it was with the police departments and our navies and our armed forces. And I was surprised because there was a time where I didn't hear that as much and with everything that's going on. And so I asked these people and they really want to do service for the community. And so that's why they're making that choice. And I'm seeing a lot more youth engaged on the discussions and talking and listening to different, podcasts on politics and what's happening because they're starting to realize that what's happening today will affect them in their future. So I'm very optimistic that there's going to be a lot more of our youth more engaged. Even volunteers during this election, there was a lot of youth, high school students that came out that wanted to help. And that was really inspiring because these are the people that will lead our country one day. And to see that they're taking an interest in learning, I think is very important.
Yeah, and I agree. And politicians and the whole political process can get angry at times, and people look bad, and this others look good. But the truth is, in my opinion, it's a very honorable pursuit for people. What better than to be taking a position of helping our country go from strength to strength? And of course, we have our political differences, and everybody knows I'm not a lover of the present government, and I want to see the change for sure because I believe in it. At the same time, I've met people from different parties, and I haven't found any who, in their private, off-camera life, aren't just good, normal human beings. And I think that that's important for everybody to know. I saw a quote today as we start to head this to the end, Connie, and thank you so much for this. There's a quote that I saw, and I thought that it describes you really well, as I know you. It was by the late Václav Havel, who was the last president of Czechoslovakia when it was called Czechoslovakia. And he said, vision is not enough. It must be combined with venture. It is not enough to stare up the steps. We must step up the stairs. And Connie, I think that that's what you've done. You stayed on your path. You've fought for what you believe. You still are. You didn't jump off the stairs. You kept climbing. You didn't give up. You got to where you want to be. And I think that that is the best thing that I know about you, besides the fact that you're a wonderful person. But I congratulate you, and I hope that people will be encouraged to get on your path. And if you love it, stay on it, fight the good fights, and get to where you want to be. And Connie, with that, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. I want to thank you for your service, and we're just excited for what you are going to do over the next number of years.
Thank you for having me and all your kind words. I really appreciate it. And I know with all the polarized views that are out there, we are all in it to do good for this country and our communities. And I think that is what will keep us united. And I'm looking forward to September and what this government's going to do moving forward.
Agreed, agreed. Connie, thank you again. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Connie has a great website. We'll post her website if you want to learn more about Connie. And we will see you soon on the Your Gray Matters podcast. Thanks for watching. If you found it interesting and you liked it, give us a thumbs up. If you're ready to subscribe, click right here. And if you'd like to see another episode, click right here. Tell a friend. Send us comments. Thanks a lot.